it's John the Baptist, had been arrested, he withdrew to Galilee. He left Nazareth and made his home in Capernaum by the sea, in the territory of Zebulun and Naphtali, so that what had been spoken through the prophet Isaiah might be fulfilled. And this is what Isaiah said: land of Zebulun, land of Naphtali, on the road by the sea, across the Jordan, Galilee of the Gentiles. The people who sat in darkness have seen a great light. For those who sat in the region and the shadow of death, light has dawned. From that time, Jesus began to proclaim, repent, for the kingdom of heaven has come near. As he walked by the Sea of Galilee, he saw two brothers, Simon, who is called Peter, and Andrew, his brother. They were casting their nets into the sea, for they were fishermen. And he said to them, follow me, and I will make you fish for people. Immediately, they left their nets and followed him. As they went from there, he saw two other brothers, James, son of Zebedee, and his brother John, in a boat with their father Zebedee, mending their nets. And he called them. Immediately, they left the boat and their father and followed him. Here ends our reading from Matthew this day. Thanks be to God. We continue in Matthew and Jesus' early ministry, where this section of the gospel is today. And if you remember what you just heard, it's a significant time for a few reasons. Number one is it is the official beginning of his ministry that he would walk for the next 3 years. And he did at that time begin to preach and also to call the disciples, as you've heard. This morning we also noticed that Andrew and Peter, two brothers, were hard at work fishing, casting their nets into the sea. That was their job. That was their work. They weren't on a recreational fishing boat with a charter captain hoping to bring home a big catch to show their friends. They were indeed working to put food on the table. And then comes Jesus' well-known words to all of you, come, follow me. I will send you to fish for people. The other thing that's significant about this passage is their response. The text says, according to Matthew, at once they left their nets and followed them. At once. Right then, there, at that moment. Boom! Now, go further in the text, and he does the same thing with Zebedee's two sons, James and John. This time, the text says they immediately left their father in the boat. See you, Dad. I don't know how well that would set with any of your fathers as you look back. Are you kidding me? Right? Immediately, they jump out of the boat and they leave Dad drifting. Why? To follow him. Now, here comes our topic for today, friends. When could you, perhaps maybe did you, immediately drop what you were doing and follow Jesus' call? Don't show me your hands. Or do we tend to resist? Delay? Think about it. Let me think about it for a minute, because why? After all, that was just a story, PK. I have responsibility. People count on me. These men were just self-employed fishermen. Jesus was not asking them to come, my friends, and try it out to see if they liked it. He didn't say, would you come and follow me? We didn't sing this morning, would you come and follow me? How many times have you said to someone, try this, you'll like it? You pre-decide by your own thoughts, I don't know I'm going to like that, so I'm not going to do it. Even though you have no first-hand experience with this thing the friend is asking you to try. Such is the case with your bulletin cover this morning. Friends, you want to take a look at the bulletin cover? I'm sure you did. At least, how many people looked at it before we started service? Thank you. Okay. And I still have a job, so that's a good sign. I don't know what other preacher around would put Dr. Seuss on the cover of their worship folder, but there we are, right? Dr. Seuss in Green Eggs and Ham reminds us of our own irrational reaction to being asked to try something out of the ordinary. Let's reflect on what this is. Christy, I'm ready. I invite you to look at the screen. Do you like green eggs and ham? I do not, said Sam I Am. Would you like them in a house? Would you like them with a mouse? Would you like them in a box? Would you like them with a fox? Would you like them in a car? Would you like them in a tree? Would you like to eat them in a train? On a train? No, I would not. Let me be. Say, in the dark? Here in the dark? Would you? Could you? In the dark? Would you try them on a boat? Would you try them with a goat? I will try them, Sam I Am. Say, I like green eggs and ham. There it is. I do not like them, I know. How do you know? Well, I've never tried them, but I can just tell. Green eggs aren't the right thing. Green eggs, they're not supposed to be green. They're supposed to be white and yellow. Everybody knows that. So why on earth would I try something green? Reminds me of mold. Yeah? Okay. There it is. Somehow in our culture, we have developed the delayed response. All right? The delayed response to something that is unknown, right? Okay? Sam, poor Sam, he didn't know firsthand about green eggs. They could have been a delicacy in another country that he didn't know about, but because it was not what he thought it should be, I'm not doing that. All right? Now, where's Jesus in this Dr. Seuss story this morning? Jesus is the one that says, would you try it in a boat? Would you try it here? He doesn't give up, right? Has he ever done that in your life? You have said, God, I'm not qualified to do this project for the church. God, I really don't know what I'm doing. Let's go back to the gospel reading this morning. Those 4 brothers weren't qualified to be a disciple. They were fishermen. That's what they knew. They knew how to do it. They were good enough to support their families with it. That's what they knew. And along comes this man, not God in full glory to them, this man walking along the shore. And he doesn't do what Dr. Seuss did. Would you come? Could you come? Oh, you don't like it that way. Let me see if you would like it like this. Let me see if I can put the green eggs on ice. Would you like that better? He doesn't do any of that, does he? He doesn't placate you. He doesn't try to beg you to come, nor did he do that with the disciples to be. He simply said, come, follow me. Would you do that? You know, if we're honest, I think there would be hesitation. So what made the difference? Well, you and I, my friends, have never sat or fished in the real presence of Jesus Christ. So now we can say, yes, this was a man, but this man was divine. So I suggest to you that part of their reason for immediate response was they had only heard, just like Sam, they had only heard really about this promised Messiah, where we get the prophets from. They had heard about the stir some years ago, probably from an ancestor, and because they were good, believing Hebrew people, about the birth of the Messiah in Bethlehem. So they had that knowledge, but it was maybe second, third, or fourth hand, right? I've heard it, but here he is talking to me. Ever had that? I have. It's like, is that really, you're really asking me that? So you pause to think about it. Now, some realists out here in the crowd would say, that's just smart, PK. You know, who jumps to conclusions too soon and then is sorry? Everybody? Yeah, tell me a time that you've jumped to a conclusion and then you've backed up in the silence of your own space and went, why did that come out of my mouth? Look at this person isn't anything like I thought they would be. Right? And then you try it a little bit. You watch them, you see them, and all of a sudden you see what green eggs really look like in front of you, and you go, oh, it wasn't what I thought. Back to Sam. After all the begging and pleading, he tries it, and he's very, this is a man, a few on words. He says, I like it. You know, there's no, oh, I should have tried it before. See, that's all the guilt that comes along with jumping to conclusions, not doing something, and then wish you had. That's where we are this morning, my friends, with the story. I get it. I get that it's hard to not jump to conclusions because these four guys didn't. They saw, they had studied about this. They knew that there was a possibility of a Messiah, so they didn't just go, oh, does he look like the one? Let's go try. Just like Sam, okay? They were more careful than that. But when Jesus spoke those words out of his mouth, and my guess, because even though I'm old, I wasn't there, my guess is that their eye contact was something that helped them make the choice. How many people see, let's go to summertime. Summertime in East Tawas. Okay, and you're walking down Newman Street. And there's a ton of people we don't know, right? How many people are quick to do, oh, Christy, you're going to kill me today, girl. Okay. And people pass you by. I'm coming back. Oh, good. Okay. Except when somebody has a dog. True? Dogs have something about them, right? Dogs are love. Unless they're like, rah, and they don't like people, then they shouldn't be on Newman Street in the summer. But dogs have the ability to emanate, come and love me, come and love me, come and love me. And so you're drawn there. I always say, smart thing, can I pet her or him, right? That's a good thing, because if you stick your hand in there, you may find out otherwise, okay? That would be jumping to a conclusion, all right? And so you inquire. But we do spend a lot of our time looking down. Now, we can say that's because we're getting older and we don't want to trip. But I don't know how many people walk down Newman Street like this. How are you? Some people do, right? How many people are like greeters? It's like you're an official town greeter. Yeah, Paul, yeah, absolutely. You know, if you see it as your role to be the official town greeter, then you're looking at all these folks. Yeah, okay? But if you aren't comfortable stepping out of that comfort zone of known, you know, somebody might go like this back at you. Who are you? You know, I don't talk to people. I'm kind of personal, my personal space. So you don't take that risk and you just kind of trot along. I do that in Walmart. I look at my cart. On Newman Street, I look out. In Walmart, I look at my cart. Because, you know, it would take me 3.5 hours to get out of Walmart. Because when I seem to look people in the eye, I see the little lady that's as short as I am, who can't reach the top shelf, and there's no one around to help. So, yes, indeed, I will jump to the conclusion that I need to be the heroine here, and I will stand on the bottom shelf at Walmart and walk and try to get that for her, you see. And so, you know, if there's a traffic jam in the aisle, I'm looking at my cart, and then, I see this cart rolling here, and then there's one of those electronic buggies in the aisle, and I know we have a big traffic jam coming up. Then I will look up and I will say, hang on a minute, let me get out of the way, and I'll put it in reverse, right? And then I'll flag the cart through, and then we'll go on. It can take me a very long time to do shopping at Walmart. So the point there is that there are advantages to not looking at the world around you. In all seriousness, there are. Why? Because if you do that too often, which is what Seuss was asking Sam to do. You can try it here, you can try it there, you can try it here, you can try it there. You can try it anywhere. Just try the thing, will ya? Sam gets a head that goes, whoa, wait a minute, I don't know, no. And what happens when you overwhelm somebody, folks? Don't they kind of retreat? I can't deal with all of that, is the response, isn't it? So let's go back to Jesus this morning. Jesus does not say to those brothers and Sam, come on, you guys, try it like this. And if you don't like it, then we can go somewhere. I'll go wherever you want, and we'll get you used to this disciple thing, and we can eat together, and all of a sudden, their heads are going to go like this. So what does he do? He makes it plain and simple. Ta-da! Come, follow me. We don't know what the intonation was with those words. It could have been, come, follow me. It could have been, come, follow me. Come, follow me, were the words. And together with the divine spirit hovering there in their hearts. Have you ever had a divine call? It sounds like that's very hoity-toity and high up. I tell you, I would pray and hope that every one of you have had a divine call. That just means that's a moment that you know in your head and your heart that God is calling you to serve Him somehow. Anybody ever stopped by the side of the road? We probably did this much more years ago than we do today. Somebody is in trouble by the side of the road, and do you slow down and look? And sometimes you go, that looks all right, and you go on by, right? Anybody ever slow down and look, and maybe it's a lady with a baby, a little guy, and you stop and see what you can do? I'll tell you something. Today, cell phones are the best thing. There's a lot I can tell you about cell phones. But one of the good things is this. You can help somebody that you believe is in distress and be God's hands and feet by simply rolling your window down and saying, I can call somebody for you. 911. They'll send a service truck. Somebody will help you. You don't have to get out and physically do it. So that doesn't, now everybody's in that game, right? Yeah. We have that personal example, don't we? Last Sunday, it was first person. Oh, I understand that. Okay. So last Sunday, we left church jubilant and great as usual. And my friend Carol Berry said, if you drive me over, and I can let Jake out, the dog, we can go have breakfast. I'm like, there's a lot of snow out there. But sure, get in. So we leave her car. I drive a very short place down to Huron Street. Marjorie's in this game too. Marjorie, we were taking her because she couldn't get out of her driveway because of the ice mounds on 23. So I turned the corner on Huron Avenue, and there's and it's like, she says, stop here, I'll get out in the road. I'm like, really? She says, yeah. So we dump her out on the road, and she hops her way back into her house. We go down the street, and Carol and I turn left. Snow hadn't been plowed, of course. Down we go. Now, I turn into the driveway. She said, I must admit, truth be told, Carol says, don't go in the driveway. I'm like, I've got four-wheel drive. I even have manual four-wheel drive, There you go, Ro. That was real smart. So I whip that baby in there in my four-wheel drive, and I get so far, and it goes boom, zzz. Oh, about 2 hours to get out of that. Now, we're shoveling, right? Here we are. We're shoveling under the tires. Okay. Carol runs in and gets ice melt. I whip the rugs out of the truck, put them underneath there. Just kept going down and down and down. What am I going to do now? Well, I don't know. Down Huron Street. For no reason at that moment, at that time, comes Jackson in his Jeep. I look up, he looks up, I'm like, thank you, Jesus! Seriously. Jackson jumps out. He says, I get people out all the time, so we put him in the car. It's like, he gets stuck. He was in there. I hate to tell him this part, never mind. Okay. Why don't you explain about your part, and then I'll pick up my part.
I'm sitting there, and I can't move, and they're pushing me from the front and pushing me from the back. And when I got out of the car initially, I must have hit the parking brake, and so I look on the dash. We're sitting there for, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes, and I'm giving it the beans,
And all the women are pushing, wabba, wabba, right? Yeah. So here's the window. Oh man, the parking brake was on.
I flipped it, and I was out.
He says, just a minute. Boom, there he goes. See? Oh, it was, beyond your wildest imagination, gang, let me tell you. But that's the love we have. So not giving up, he says, we need a tow rope. Well, I don't have one. Betty Clark was with us. She has the tow rope always, but she busted hers the last time, so she didn't have one. So good old Carol Berry goes in the garage, and she comes out with a rope. It looks like it had pulled everything in the world for the last 20 years. I mean, uh-oh. That's what I mean. And it looked like it too. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So Jack gets on his back, slides under the car, finds a place to tie it on, and I'm looking at this rope. Boing! You know, he's like, no, Ro, we got this. We got this. He hops in, and by golly, that boy pulled me right out. Yeah, thank you, sir. Yeah, so sometimes, you know, thinking you got it all together is not exactly, but, I knew this was going to happen. All right, we've got an annual meeting today, so we have to move this along. I said to her, this is before Jack did the successful pull. I said, if I get out onto the road, I'm gone. And she just kind of stood there like, I got it, you know. 2.5 hours later. So there we go. Life is full of unexpected circumstances. And yes, there still are loving, caring people. And I don't think Jack and I have ever met on that road any other time in the last few years like that. It's like, you think? A little divine intervention? That's partly what I say is divine intervention. God uses people to do His will. And I praised Him for that. Amen. There we go. All right. So, when you think that God is asking, more importantly, if you think that God is telling, see, that's what it's about today, isn't it? God does ask, and God does tell. And if you think that your heart is like, oh, should I help? Okay, evaluate quickly, and then get out and do it. Will you come and follow me? Says Jesus Christ to you. Amen.